I'm Molly Gibbs, I'm a senior.
Hi, I'm Elena Lynch, I'm a senior.
Today was our first cross-country race.
And with new COVID precautions, it felt a little kind of weird. We wore our masks the entire time warming up. If he blows a whistle, then you're allowed to take your mask off, and we are in our own spaces. And then we start the race and are spread out pretty much throughout the race.
Hi, I'm Maya.
I'm Helen.
We're sophomores. Today's race was pretty weird because of the differences in protocol from COVID.
It was a little weird because it's my first race ever, but it's really rewarding and I'm glad that we were able to do it despite COVID.
The season this year is looking stronger than it ever has before. There's a focus out on the field that has just been fantastic for this entire season so far. So COVID has made it so that we can't play and march our show at the same time, but we've gotten around that and worked through that by having the students marching without playing and along to a recording, and then we're going to be creating a recording of the show virtually and mixing that together.
This season, at first I was kind of pessimistic because we're starting. This is something we've never done before, and I've been a marching band for 2 years prior to this, so I'm pretty used to the way things are and how the same routine we go through. But once they kind of edited our season and told us all the kind of like creative stuff we'd be doing, how we were going to be spacing, the stuff we would be doing in sections and in small groups to get to know each other rather than as a band as a whole, once I got used to it, I thought it was a great idea. I'm glad we're doing it.
It's a little weird. I mean, I guess it's nice to have like a season still, but it's definitely a lot different.
My first season has been going pretty good. I mean, I don't really have any other seasons to like compare it to because this is my first time, but it's going really well. Everyone's really nice and I've learned a lot. I think my favorite thing was probably like learning the fundamentals since it was my first time, so it was really cool to like see how it's all done.
So being a section leader is a new experience for me. Sometimes it's a little frustrating, you know, when you really want to get an idea or kind of image that you have in your head of how you want your section to work. And, you know, there's a bunch of people who might also have different ideas in their head of how it should go. But altogether, I love the members of my section, so they're easy people to work with. They're my friends, they're fun. And I think it's definitely a good experience for me, but it's not as difficult as I thought it would be.
The most rewarding thing is probably being a senior and seeing all these younger kids that are gonna like be in the next like iteration of marching band after me.
The work ethic this season is one of the best things that has taken place. The students have a drive and a discipline this year that has just been fantastic.
Recently, I had the chance to sit down with Samaj Coleman, the new head of the arts department at OPRF, and hear his goals for our school.
My name is Samaj Coleman. I am the new division head of fine and applied art. Immediately before I joined OPRF, I was actually the principal at Hoover Elementary School, which is an elementary school in Calumet City, Illinois, so in south suburbs. I served as the principal for 3 years. Before I was the principal at Hoover Elementary School, I was actually an assistant principal at Lansing Memorial. But again, I was the assistant principal there. And before I became assistant principal there, I was a music teacher for about 13 years. And I taught music in Chicago public schools. I even taught in Detroit public schools in Detroit, Michigan. So I have a fine arts background, and I also have some administration experience.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I was born to a father who actually was a Motown artist. My father was named Sweet James, and he was part of a group called the Fantastic Four. They had a couple of hits back in the 60s. So my father was a musician, and my mother was a long-time education. She was an educator. She taught students with special needs. I grew up and went to Eastern Michigan University, home of the Eagles, and got my undergrad. I later attended American College of Education for my master's and Chicago State for my doctoral degree. But I love music. I love sports, and obviously I love my family. I'm married. I have 4 children, and I love my family.
So, is there a reason specifically why you decided to go into education?
As a music student growing up, I would go to workshops when I was a middle school and high school student myself, and I would help students that were younger than me learn their art. I would conduct a lot of youth choirs. I would teach a lot of piano lessons to younger people. And I just had a passion. I would love to see young people get that aha moment. It was like a passion for me. Again, I love to see students who enjoyed their music and who learn something new every single day. And so that's why I pursued education.
So, tell me, do you have any plans specifically for our school, or do you have any goals in mind?
So, well, I got a couple of goals. I'll tell you this first goal first. I want all of the students at OPRF to be adequately trained so that if they choose to pursue art at the collegiate level, they are adequately trained and they have a high skill level and they will be the best fine arts and applied arts students at that college. So I want to make sure that all of our arts students are prepared for the secondary level. And also, on top of that, OPRF has a rich history in the fine and applied arts. I want to just make sure that that history is not only communicated to everyone so that everybody knows just how awesome OPRF students are, but I want to make sure that the world actually knows who OPRF students are. So I want to make sure that I'm doing my job of communicating to outside sources and promoting all of the amazing things that are happening at our school.
Do you have any words of wisdom per se for like students?
I do. My number one word of wisdom is be flexible. We really can't predict what happens. And so one of the most important traits that any student should have is flexibility, because you have to be able to adapt to what's around you. And the other thing that I would say to students is make sure that you slow down. And the old phrase used to say, stop and smell the flowers. But in other words, just slow down and enjoy the moment, because life really is not that long. One day you're in elementary school, then you're in high school, then you're in college, then you have your own family, and then you're retired. And I know it doesn't seem like it goes by fast, but trust me, it does go by fast. So make sure that you smile and enjoy the journey, because it's only for a moment. And especially in a situation like where we're at now, there are a lot of people who did not get an opportunity to enjoy this past year. And that's unfortunate, because who knows what the future holds for us. But that's why we have to try to find the silver lining in any scenario and situation that we find ourselves in. Just make sure that you're adaptable, that you're flexible, and that you stop and smell the flowers and enjoy the moment. I just want to say thank you to everyone for welcoming me in. Even though we were in the midst of a pandemic, I had several people to make sure that they welcomed me in. I had several people who kind of showed me the ropes around OPRF. So I wanted to say thank you to all of the staff. Thank you to the students for, again, making this an enjoyable, albeit strange, but an enjoyable experience for the past few weeks that I've had. And I'm going to enjoy the ride. So I just wanted to say thank you for welcoming me in.